Well, hey everybody, it's your good buddy 650 Ebe here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. We've got some bikes out in the driveway. We're about to do some cruising on the 2013 BMW HP4, my workhorse machine that I've had for over 6 years now. Almost 21,000 miles on this motorcycle, and it looks even better than it looked when I first took possession of it. Now, my HP4 was not a competition machine. It was a base HP4, which means it had black wheels. It didn't have all the beautiful carbon fiber and stuff like that, but I had a vision, and I knew that with the help of my good buddy Zach and Miami Manny from Moto Million, that we transformed this motorcycle into something even more special than the competition machine, and I think we've done that. Every single bolt on this bike is blue, titanium prototype bolts and Rotobox boost wheels and carbon fiber parts and blue radiator and oil cooler guards, illuminated rondelles and all sorts of stuff. And then we have the Aprilia RSV4 1100 factory looking great, lots of carbon fiber that we recently added to that bike. These bikes will be offered to one of you folks. You guys can select to keep one of these bikes for yourselves. Information on how you might win one of these motorcycles is in the description. Head on over to Patreon and join our Patreon community. Somebody is going to get the call to make the decision on which one of these two bikes they want to keep for themselves. The one that they don't keep, we will use for season 6 of the new bike build series. Before we could do some cruising, you want to hear cold starts of all the motorcycles, so let's do it while my neighbors aren't home. It's in the middle of the workday. Let's start with the HP4. Let's head on over to this side where the exhaust hangs out. The beautiful Brock's Performance CT Megaphone. Next up, the 2020 S1000 RR. And finally, the Aprilia. We're going to get soaked. Alrighty now, so we got the bike started up. We got an unexpected rainstorm that came out of nowhere. We're gonna let it stop raining and dry off, and then I'm gonna go for some cruising. Awesome new set of Pirelli Super Corsa tires on the bike. And although this bike did not come with an auto blipper, I had one installed. and it works amazingly. A link to where you can get it is in the description if you're interested. I highly recommend it for anyone that owns a 2010 through 14 S1000RR or HP4. Totally transforms the bike and makes it more relevant and modern and just awesome, because, you know, auto blippers rock, man. They just rock. But I'm going to go on a little ride here, head over to Sills. I got a couple things to have Zach take a look at. You know, Zach's been the only mechanic that has worked on my HP4, which is why, with over 20,000 miles, 20,557 miles, this bike rides like it rode on the first day when it had 1 mile on it. As we enjoy the snap, crackle, and pop from the Brock's Performance full titanium CT megaphone exhaust. As I waved to my Harley buddy, who decided to wave back. So you might find my casual strolls on my way to Sills boring. I hope you don't. I try to talk about things that people leave me questions about all the time. You know, recently I made a "What job do I have?" video, and people still ask me, "What job do you have? What do you do for a living?" What the hell, man? You just bought another motorcycle? Yes. I'm a full-time social media influencer. I get paid to produce content for your viewing pleasure, and I enjoy what I'm doing. A lot more than what I used to do, working in information technology, slaving for the man from 8 to 7, because there's no such thing as 9 to 5. 8 to 7 and then some, on call, having to hold balls. No, I don't want to do that. No, no, no. Places where I take pictures from time to time. The abandoned garage. Here's the railroad tracks. Thomas the train comes every fall, and my kids enjoy it because the train is decorated to look like Thomas. And my kids, they still fall for it and believe that it's actually Thomas and not a train. They don't believe in Santa Claus, though. I'll give them that. Alright, so usually we can pick up the pace on this road, but you never know where there's a sneaky, sneaky law enforcement officer hiding, waiting to give chase to a sport bike so he can brag in the lunchroom and say, "I caught a sport bike," or, you know, "That sport bike didn't even pull over." Yeah. I'm not going to be that guy. I always pull over when I see lights and sirens. And I plead my case. If I'm speeding, I tell them, "Hey, I'm sorry, man. I didn't know what the speed limit was. I didn't have Waze on my motorcycle." And they're like, "You know what? That's original, buddy. I haven't heard that before. Go about your business. You're fine." But now that I put that on the YouTube, I probably can't use that excuse anymore, eh? This HP4, man. I can't stop just loving this bike. This, you know, people ask me, "What's your favorite bike?" I don't necessarily have a favorite bike, but this is the purchase that I love the most, because I definitely got my money's worth. This bike has had zero problems besides one that was covered under warranty, and when the bike was 1 year old, it had like a leak in the suspension in the back, the DDC, and it was replaced. It was $1,000. BMW paid for it. This bike came with a 3-year warranty. I don't believe any other sport bike offers 3 years. Some offer 2, most offer 1, some offer none. You know? And that's just the way it is. September 5th. I can't wait till the leaves start to change colors. I'm going to do a lot of riding on my GS Adventure in the fall. Woo! That's the quick shift going for you. And here's the auto blip. Gotta love it. Woo! Sounds like a banjo or a shotgun. Or a mixture of a banjo and a shotgun. And the auto blip just sounds good too. Listen to this. Music to my ears. So a lot of my new viewers may not know this, but I was one of the very first people to purchase a BMW S1000RR. I was the first person in the Midwest to get one in March of 2010. And back then, for all of you youngsters and even people the ripe old geezer age as myself, might remember that the ZX-10 was the big bad bike at that time. And everybody was out racing ZX-10s and talking about ZX-10s. And I had to prove and demonstrate that the S1000 was the truth. And I did that. My good buddy Mustang Dame helped me do that. We had a lot of good races and went back and forth. He got the best of me sometimes, and sometimes, most times, I beat him. And then that's when everything started to change. Around 2012 or so, I got my second S1000RR, and then Mustang Dame started to do sneaky stuff to his ZX-10. Get engine work, cams, and stuff like that. And that gave birth to a whole nother genre of people that start to do things to their bikes, and you never know what's done to them. That's fine. You know, people always say, run what you brung, and all that stuff, you know. A guy could have nitrous, or he could be lowered and stretched and strapped, have brakes removed, and horns removed, and cylinders removed, and all that kind of stuff. And so now that's accepted. And I resisted that movement at first, but I've accepted it too. My philosophy on that is, I'm just not going to race certain bikes that aren't configured the way that mine is. That way I can try to keep it fair. And those guys that have those race configured, drag race configured bikes, butchered bikes I like to call them, they can race amongst themselves and see who has the fastest butchered bike. But for me, the HP4 and the rest of my stable, those bikes are just too precious to butcher. To put on the butchering block and get chopped up. Even the EBR 1190RX with its American muscle. I never do that too. Alright, never. Alright, well, I think maybe I've babbled enough for today, so I'm going to head on over to Sills. And if you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, tap that bell. You'll get notified when new content is uploaded. I'm still stuck behind slow-moving traffic. That's the way it's going to be. There's nothing I can do about it. That's a double yellow line I'm not going to cross. So I will enjoy more sunshine, and I will chat with you guys a little bit later. Thanks so much for viewing my video. Stay tuned for more. We'll catch you next time on the 650 EB YouTube channel.